the aisles. And so that's why the kneelers aren't here. We begin now the sacred, solemn season of Lent, this holy time. As I think about the readings today, what comes to mind is that old little saying, he loves me not. Remember that with the flowers? He loves me not. He loves me not. It's an easy tendency for us to get into as Catholics. I like to call that and frame that in a particular phrase called Catholic atheists. What I mean by a Catholic atheist is that those times in my life where I'm a Catholic, but I actually live like I don't believe in God. I don't believe that He is loving. I don't believe that God is there for me. Make sense? And I want to explain that yes, I'm a Catholic, yes, but I can be tempted in my life like Adam and Eve, that's not really true. I can have these moments in my life where I really call into question those beliefs, and sometimes even I live as though my belief in God doesn't exist. So the whole loves me not. Adam and Eve in the garden were created by God. The breath of God was in them. And God was in intimate communion with them. And how quickly we see in the story, the tempter comes and they begin to question all of that. Is that really true? Is it really true? Did God really say that? Is that really? Does He love me or does He love me not? Is it true? Am I supposed to keep this commandment? Particularly when challenges in life come, when difficulties in life comes, when those things in life hit us square in the heart, and we go, where are you, God? Where are you? And my faith can really struggle. It's an easy temptation. And we look to Jesus. Jesus never wavered in His faith. He never wavered. He always came from this position of belief in God. See, with Adam and Eve, when the devil came to Adam and Eve, they were very quickly thrown into this, wait a minute, no, maybe you're right. Maybe God isn't real. And when the devil tempts Jesus, He's like, not going there. Not going to go there. My place of faith that's what's going to guide my life. The temptation with Adam and Eve is, you can become like gods. And when they do that, they begin to question God. And when they question God, think of a courtroom. God is put on the stand, and Adam and Eve become like the prosecuting attorneys questioning God, which means we place ourselves over God and above God. God, you have to prove yourself to me. Jesus would never do that. He never does that. His place is always, you are God. Do not tempt the Lord your God. Love the Lord your God with your mind, heart, soul, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. So I just ask, how are you doing with that in your own life? Lent is a time of conversion where we strengthen our faith again in God. We put our belief in a more strong way in God and battle the temptations in my own life where I could even be tempting really God's providence, God's presence in my life. So I just ask, how are you doing? And maybe that's something to work on this Lent. Does God love me? Well, maybe He doesn't love me. Is this or maybe not? That can happen. But we look to Jesus and say, let's just come from the place of, yes, God is there. Yes. And then move forward from that place. Lent is a time where we're called to strengthen our practice of our devotion, our Catholic witness, our Christian witness. I want to be really honest. There's some times in my life where I've given very bad witness to being a Christian. Being a bad witness to Christianity is the biggest enemy of Christianity. What I mean by that, the biggest reason why I think people don't become Christians is because when I don't live my Christian faith, they're like, see? See? There was a moment in my life, me and another priest, a priest friend of mine, this had been quite a few years ago, we'd spend our day off together, and we'd go fishing, and we had fun, and we'd go to the gym a lot. And so when you go to the gym, you sort of form a little gym community. I used to go to the gym, everybody. So a little gym community, right? Those of you who go, you know, it's like you sort of form this little community. And we found that we began to, I guess, in probably a desire to fit in, because, you know, we sort of felt a little, that we fell into the practice of a lot of cynicism and sarcasm in our speech. And he and I were really good at that. Because, you know, when you're funny, you kind of want to fit in. And one day, Father and I were in a conversation, and cynicism and sarcasm just flowing like a river. And afterwards, we looked at each other and we said, oh my gosh, those were not good things we were saying. And we had a little conversion moment of like, what must all these people be thinking? And it was a conversion moment. It's like, I need to stop. I need to not do that. Lent is a time of conversion. Lent is a time of turning away from these things that really pull us away from being the people that we know we're supposed to be. How do we do that? How do we overcome our weaknesses? Is there anything in your life that you struggle with that's not that you're not being the best version of yourself, as Matthew Kelly would say? Is there anything in your life where you keep falling into that same pattern? Like, gosh, I keep doing this. I keep doing X, or keep doing Y. I keep doing Z, and it's there. Don't raise your hand, but do you have something like that, or am I the only one that has these and we're all different. For some people, we might really struggle with anger and a lack of patience. Other people, it might be lust, or it might be envy or jealousy, or who knows, it could be a whole number of things that are like, that's my struggle point. Lent is a time of, we say, let's face that struggle point head on, with the grace of God. And come through the other side with what? With a greater self-control. With a greater self-control, which is what Adam and Eve were lacking in the garden, and which Jesus had a lot of in the desert. And Jesus shows that he was able to gain that mastery of himself in the desert, because what was he doing in the desert for 40 days? Fasting and praying. You're going to hear me hit this topic a lot during Lent, fasting and praying, particularly fasting. So you've already heard me talk about this. I'm going to talk about it again and again and again. Fasting is an incredible spiritual tool, a spiritual practice to regain control over these areas in our life that are gaining control of us. Fasting is an incredible spiritual practice that is ancient. And I think, if I'm honest with myself, fasting is something that has kind of fallen away. That we kind of have not done a whole lot. What I mean by fasting is like to seriously not eat so much during Lent, to deprive myself of food during Lent. Now, don't go crazy, right? But I mean, why is that so powerful? Why is fasting so powerful? And it's really simple. We are made up of an intellect, a will, and our passions or our desires. Our intellect is the highest part of us. It's what's made in the image and likeness of God. Our intellect can contemplate truth. Faith is believing in what God has revealed. It's in our intellect. Our will is our capacity to choose. And then our passions are the most base part of us. They're not necessarily bad, but it's what we share with the rest of nature. Eating, sleeping, reproducing, all of our passions are worldly desires. And our worldly desires, our passions, will never be satisfied. Our passions are never satisfied. They always want more, they want more, they want more. And what can happen is my will is in a battle. Is my will going to choose what my intellect tells me to do, or my passions tell me to do? My intellect tells me, Caleb, get back to the gym. And my will is saying, okay. And my passions are telling me, man, hit the snooze button. My passions are saying, snooze button all the way. And my intellect screaming at me, you need to get to the gym. And my will saying, well, which do I choose? Which do I choose? The gym or the snooze button? And my passions are like, are you kidding me? That's the snooze button. Snooze. And then another day goes by, and I'm like, dang it, I didn't go to the gym again. Why not? because my passions are controlling me. Even though I need to, even though I know that it's really important, even though I know there's serious health consequences for not, I don't do it. So the question is, who's in charge of my life? Am I really in charge of my life, or are my passions in charge of me? How come I can't resist this? How come I can't resist that? How come I keep blowing up like this? How come I... Fasting is the best way to say, passions, go lie down. Like when you have a puppy dog that comes and eats off your table and you're going to train him, hey, go lay down. Go lay down. Because if you keep feeding that dog, it'll never stop coming to the table. Eventually you got to say, no, go lie down. Fasting is telling our passions, go lie down. I'm going to be in charge. I will feed you, but it's going to be on my terms. You go lay down. Fasting is a type of reasserting of self-control in our life, where our will and our passions become submissive to our intellect, what I know to be true. Someone pulls in front of me in traffic, and instead of getting angry, I control that. I don't know what that situation is, and so I'm able to control my anger, et cetera, et cetera. Pick the passion, pick the sin, insert. How are you all doing with those things? And I want to invite us to do fasting and prayer in a more intense way this Lent, in a more intense way. And that helps with those basic temptations of even like, does God even exist? Because when I have all of that noise coming from my passions and worldly desires, and it can get really confusing inside the heart. So I offer to you the season of Lent. The church offers this time of Lent, a time of imitating Jesus, to fast, to pray, to take serious what's going on inside of me, so that my life will become healthier in the holistic sense, and I even become a better witness to others. You might have to tell that dog, go lie down. Lie down. What is it in your life that we need to say, go lay down? Because you're not helping me in this moment. God bless you in your Lenten journey. Let's pray for one another. This is not easy, but we have the help of God. Let's do it.